Hey everybody, let's talk and let's talk about musicians and construction workers too. Anybody with a gig or in the gig economy and shoulder surgery. Okay, so if you have shoulder pain, okay, I'm assuming you haven't had surgery yet. I have. You got shoulder pain, maybe you've been to the doctor, maybe you haven't, maybe you should. And what's kind of involved when you get into shoulder surgery? You know, as a musician, you're afraid. Like if you're a guitar player, like let's say it's my left hand, left shoulder. I'm right-handed. Is that going to mess up my fretting? In my case, it was the right hand. Is that going to mess up my picking? I like the hybrid pick, flat pick. Guess what? You know how long the full recovery is from shoulder surgery? 9 months. 9 freaking months. This shoulder, is complicated. It does everything. It is the most complicated joint in your body. So when you get surgery on your shoulder, it's complicated. And it's something that has to be discussed because you may not be able to take, it may not be 9 months off work, but you might be 3 months, if you're in an office. If you're doing heavy lifting, it might be the 9 months. If you're a guitar player, you might be able to strum after 6 and get fully picking by 9. It's not, this is not something you can just kind of think about and say, oh, I'm going to do this. You might have to pay for it yourself. I paid for mine. One time I couldn't, and I didn't get it done because I couldn't. That's the other thing, the cost. There's a lot going on here. To get, there's probably 3 main things in shoulders. Calcium is a very common problem, and I've had that problem. So go to the surgeon years ago. That's how it started. You got calcium on your shoulder. I got pain, affecting my playing, affecting my work, my construction work. So they do steroid shots. Thank God steroid shots are cheap. A lot of times it can cure up the problem. So I think you should obviously try that first and get it done. It's, if you got a calcium problem, get her done. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but why wouldn't you? I mean, they're cheap. Thing is, with me, it didn't work. There was something else going on, but technology has advanced greatly in surgery. This is quite a few years ago. I had my surgery in 2018. So probably, I don't know, I might have had problems for 18 years. It was a long time. It might have been 15 years. I don't really remember. Anyways, there's advancements in surgery now, which is good for us. But the doctor says, oh, you need surgery. It's like, I can't take that much time off. And am I going to be able to play guitar again? Like, what's going to be the after effects? You don't know. You're scared too, I guess, right? And it's just calcium. Or is it? Another thing that's very common for surgery on your shoulder is the rotator cuff. Now, I haven't had rotator cuff problems, but when you think of maybe drummers or people who are into athletics, it's very common. It seems to me it might be along with calcium, the easiest thing to fix. You might get better a little sooner. I'm not sure here, but I got a feeling that's something you shouldn't wait. If it's torn and teared and the doctor or surgeon says, you need to get it fixed, it probably should do it. No matter what. But again, I don't think it's as complicated. The one where you get into where I was, there's 2 levels here. I was just the first problem. The second problem is in bones. There's bones in your shoulders. And if they get messed up, you got some serious problems. I'm going to talk about mine first because the second one's ugly. So imagine this is this bone here coming up from my arm. This is the ball at the top of your arm. And over here, I think it's called the clavia. I'm not a doctor. It looks like that. I'm not looking at the camera now, I'm looking at the screen. Okay. It's just kind of like a curved bone. So one sits over top of this. Let's get over here in front of the guitar. Can you see that? I'm doing this wrong. There it is. All right. See, there's a little space there. Well, I guess from construction and everything else, I've been putting pressure there. And it got to the point where it did this. Guess what? In that space, all your nerves down your arm. Holy hell, pain. I couldn't do anything. I was stuck sitting in front of my computer. I took the sensitivity on the mouse and put it up as high as I could. I still have it pretty high because I gotten used to it. You just move the mouse this much and it would go right across the screen. I had no other choice. I'm out of work now. So that's something we got to think about. How long can you let it off before you absolutely have to do it? I'm going to get back into that in a minute. The other bone problem is, and this is the ugly one, if you've dislocated your shoulder. Now, if you're here and you've dislocated your shoulder, I feel for you, buddy, because if it's done it a few times, eventually they want to rebuild that shoulder. I mean, when I say rebuild, it can get ugly. There are people I've known of with cadaver parts in their shoulder. So that's when the whole socket just keeps falling out and your shoulder's gone. And it could happen from a simple fall. And it just keeps separating after that. Now, another thing that's not a happy thing. Doctors, like you have good mechanics and you have bad mechanics. You have good doctors and bad doctors. Okay? I know people personally who went to one surgeon and things didn't go well. And then they went to another city. It was here in Ontario. They went to Hamilton. And they found a good surgeon. And they took 2 surgeries to fix his shoulder. But then after that, he's fine. It scares the hell out of you. I can't say sources and stuff, but I have no other people with the bone surgery, and there's been a couple of them where they've done it wrong. Next, I would say, okay, your considerations, because you're a gig worker. You need to work. It's expensive. You got to pay for your own surgery. It's expensive. I went to Mexico. You could go to places like India, Thailand, I think is decent. I wanted to be somewhere, my Spanish is not very good at all, but I wanted to be somewhere where I was closer to home. I live in Canada. I looked into the US, it's too much money. And the wait time in Canada, yeah, we have public health care, a year to see the surgeon. Remember, I'm stuck. I can't do anything. Kind of my own fault. I put it off too long. The problem is you got to decide when to decide when to do it. So that's kind of the fears. And the only other thing is do your physio. You know, the physiotherapist was saying to young people who didn't do their physio on stuff, and then they're too lazy. They can't do their arm. Well, I got to do a lot of stuff on my arm. I got to keep working, and I got to play guitar. My arm's doing this. It's fantastic. If I didn't do my physio, I'd be you know what. So do your physio. Now, when to do it? Only you can decide and your doctor can decide. I just don't know what to tell you. I waited too long. Mostly out of financial problems. And then it got worse. You know, in fear of losing my abilities of playing with my hands, guitar, I waited too long and I got really screwed up. And I had to spend my own money instead of have health care in Canada. If I'd done it sooner, it wouldn't have cost me. And you know what? I look back at those years when it was after a while, and I thought, I'd stopped playing. Like I was still songwriting guitar over here. I was still playing, but I'd play around a campfire. I wasn't like gigging a lot because I couldn't play that 2 or 3 hours. Now I'll play, I usually don't play 3 hours, but we do 2 and 3/4 hour gigs straight. If it's an outdoor show and we're booked in, whatever, and we're the only act, we're doing that long. And the hands are fine, the arms are fine, shoulders fine. It's fixed. So it had to be done. When should you do it? Maybe don't be like me. When you can afford it. The other thing is, not even going into prevention. It just happens. It's work. The only prevention I can think of is drummers. I'm going to talk to you, drummers. Get your drums down low. Don't be doing this superstar stuff, rock star stuff. Some of the best drummers I knew young were awesome. They ain't playing now. Can't do it. Why? Doing this. Get your drums, your cymbals down low. Pretend you're a jazz player. You'll be playing forever because drums are brutal on your body. Personally, with my surgery, I'll leave that. I've kind of left that to last because it's personal. If you want to hear about it, they had to go in. They had to shave off this. So not only there's calcium in there. They go in there. They clean up all the calcium. When they're doing that, there was a tendon messed up. They had to put a screw in there. And the big issue is the bone here. So they had to cut this bone off. And I've heard stories of people flattening this bone off on your arm and not this one. Scary. So anyways, I went to Mexico, had a fantastic surgeon. Had to stay there for like a month. Mexico's different than Canada or US. Mexico, get back to work. Start doing stuff. The doctors up here are going to freak out when they find out what the doctor in Mexico made you do. Worked out for me. I'm all for it. I'm sure I've forgotten things. Somebody in the comments will add their tips and stuff. And you know what? That's awesome. I've done this with other videos. If you have advice for people and it's reasonable, I think share it. All I'm trying to do is share with you my experience. That's all I can do. I hope I helped. Maybe I didn't. That's all I can say. Anyways, it's Ron Robertson, RR, something like that. Singer-songwriter, musician. I ain't playing stadiums. I'm like you. I'm doing gigs. But I'm having fun. And a lot more fun than when my shoulder was messed up and I wasn't playing much. How about that? Anyways, see you next time. Thanks for stopping by.